Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. Just like you, I'm an independent retail business owner. I love the home decor and gift boutique I co-own with my sister, but I don't want it to consume me or my life. Join me each week as I share lessons learned, helpful tips, and valuable information for your retail business and life. Whether you're buying your products or making your products, whether you're a $25K business or a $2.5 million business, I'm on a mission to help indie retailers work less, profit more, and grow. Let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to episode 148 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. How to start a brick and mortar business. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. I feel like this topic is like opening a massive can of worms and diving into a black hole all at the same time. Like, if you're listening and you've been open for years, think back to the time before you opened or when you had the desire to have your store and all the ideas and thoughts and to-dos consumed your brain, right? When I think back, when I think back of me, I see an excited Kathy, a nervous Kathy, and a person who truly had no idea what they were doing. Like, no idea. I can laugh about it now, but I really had no idea what I was doing. And two things were probably true. I was blinded by the excitement, and I didn't ask my sister about this, but I would guess she would say the same thing. And then I also didn't know what I didn't know. I had no idea how much would be involved with opening. I was okay with it at the time, and it all worked out. But goodness, I would have appreciated some form of guidance or a checklist of sorts. My intention for this episode is to help the aspiring shopkeeper. This is, of course, the first stage of shopkeeping. There are 5 total if you take my quiz. We'll link that in the show notes at savvyshopkeeper.com/quiz. And if you take the quiz, you'll learn which stage you're in. But I want to add one thing before I continue with this episode. I want to add that the resource I'm talking about, this checklist that I'm talking about in this episode, is actually really good for the growing retailer and the retail CEO. Because in those stages, they're looking to scale their business, usually by opening another location or opening just a completely different brick and mortar business. More on that in a minute. But through Savvy Shopkeeper, I've been able to work with and have conversations with hundreds, maybe even thousands of shopkeepers. And through these conversations, I see the common questions that are asked, particularly with those who are just starting. So starting a store myself with my sister, I learned a lot along the way too. Pair this with the things I wish I would have known, and I realized probably 4 years ago that I could create a fairly comprehensive list that would be a great starting point for the aspiring shopkeeper. And if you're interested in grabbing this checklist, you'll go to savvyshopkeeper.com/open checklist, all one word. savvyshopkeeper.com/open checklist. This episode is brought to you by Master Shopkeepers, my mastermind group for brick and mortar retail store owners. If you're craving support, connection, inspiration, and motivation for your retail business, apply to join us. It doesn't matter what stage of shopkeeping you're in, what matters is your drive to work less, profit more, and grow, both personally and professionally. Learn more at savvyshopkeeper.com/group membership. That's savvyshopkeeper.com/group membership, all one word. So anyhow, the first iteration of this checklist that I did probably 4 years ago was a bit of a brain dump. And when I think back about the PDF document that people received, it wasn't pretty. And it might have been more overwhelming than helpful. Maybe I shouldn't be so critical. I'm sure it was still helpful. But when you see a dump of 100 items on a list that isn't organized, it could be scary. So a couple years ago, I decided to improve my checklist by creating categories and organizing it in a way that would be more helpful to shopkeepers. It went from an ugly 2-page dump list, is what I call it, to an organized and categorized 5-page checklist. If you haven't noticed, I've really been focusing on how Savvy Shopkeeper can truly help you without creating more overwhelm or confusion. So, if you've been listening for a while, you know I took a month off, and my goodness, I have so much clarity moving forward into 2023 on how to help everyone. If you are on the path to opening a retail brick and mortar business, you probably want to know what you should be focusing on. How many of the things you need to do are actually getting done, all while having a visual of what else needs to get done. And that's what this checklist offers. You all know I'm a fan of decluttering the brain. I want to give a special shout out to Amanda and Scott of La Petite Maison Antiques in Utah for giving me a mug at this year's retreat that says, "Lists are my love language." And it's so true. And when I started to outline this episode, I chuckled because I actually drink from that mug almost every single day. And I'll be sure to include a picture of the mug in the show notes. I don't know where it came from. I just love the mug, and it was just perfect for me, and they know that. So I just thought I'd mention it during today's episode. But opening a brick and mortar retail business not only involves the physical space itself, but it also involves many non-physical tasks and parts of the business. There are lots of things to buy and invest in, but there are also lots of things to do. And this checklist covers a variety of both. So on the checklist, there's 18 categories, and I won't talk about them all. Some are regarding the physical space, like store design, safety and maintenance, signage, and then some are regarding the business itself, like the legal business formation, professional services. Now, I want to add that the checklist is just that. It is a checklist. It's not an ebook. It's not a published book with detailed step-by-step. It just kind of helps guide you about what you need to start to consider when you open a brick and mortar retail business. And then some categories are regarding marketing, of course. Printed material, online marketing, design services that you might want to consider. I even have a category that reminds you to connect with people. Like, who would think that on a checklist? But this is so true. There are organizations and other business owners in your community. And I want you to remember that, because sometimes we're so focused on the behind the scenes and in the store and the work on the laptop that we have to do that we forget about connecting with people, especially before you open, because this is one of the most time-consuming places you'll find on your shopkeeping journey. With all that you're doing during that stage in your business, this is one thing or one recommendation that I make to you that could fall to the wayside, the part of connecting with people in person, but it's important for you and your business. This episode is brought to you by my free resource, 100 plus social media ideas and prompts for retail store owners. It's easy to get into a rut with social media marketing and not know what to post about. Get this 21-page downloadable resource filled with a list of long ideas so you can be inspired to post and market your brick and mortar store. Visit savvyshopkeeper.com/100 ideas. That's the number 100 and the word ideas all together. savvyshopkeeper.com/100 ideas and sign up for my newsletter to get the list. Anyhow, I'm sure this list isn't totally comprehensive, as we all have different needs for our businesses, because when I think about the people who are in Master Shopkeepers, it is a wide range of business owners. There's gift shop owners, apparel store owners, home decor, furniture, coffee shops, plant stores. I'm trying to think vintage stores, vendor-based business models where they have 100, 200 vendors in their stores. It's a wide range. We even have a chocolatier in our Master Shopkeepers group. So of course, your list might be a little bit different, but I think I capture at least the main things to consider before you get started. And then on the checklist, I even include an area where you can add some of your own to-dos to the list, because I get it. Not everyone has the same type of business. If you sign up to get the checklist, you'll find I have helpful blog posts, resources and other articles linked to some of the items on the checklist because, of course, I wanted to help a little bit more. So this particular episode is short and sweet because I just wanted to make sure that I talked about this resource. I want to make sure that people who are starting on this journey, and people find me along all points of the shopkeeping journey, not just the people who are starting. There are people who are in the middle of their journey. There are people who are approaching the end of their journey. They come along from all points in their businesses, but I want to make sure that the people who are just starting, or the people who find this podcast and start to binge it because they want to learn all the things before they get started, I want you to know about this resource. I also want you to know about this resource if you are looking to open another location. I can't tell you how many Master Shopkeepers members who have expanded or have grown into other brick and mortar businesses or other locations who have grabbed this just to have a frame of reference instead of feeling overwhelmed by all of the things that they needed to do. So again, if you want to grab this checklist, you'll sign up for my newsletter and then you'll get the PDF sent to your email inbox. It's savvyshopkeeper.com/open checklist. And if you want to see the show notes to this episode or find the link to this resource, you'll visit my blog at savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 148. Until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.